That doesn't sound like a beheading. Nah. Listen. You know what that sounded like? A door sealing. I think I solved the end of the episode. It is a diabolical ending to end with your character seemingly being beheaded with a pair of scissors. But I think the key is in the sound direction. Let's break it all down. Make sure you leave a like, share, support, subscribe, ring that bell if you haven't already. Of course, Patreon, you can catch my full live reactions to all these episodes and more. But what I mean by the sound direction is I listened to it like 5 times. I think it's a gate, a seal. As diabolical as it is to watch her get beheaded, now they do cut it off, no pun intended, re-roll the credits, but to me, listening to that over and over again, it sounded like a seal, like a door slamming shut or a gate slamming shut. And I might be completely wrong. Next week we could come out complete misdirect. But I'm almost wondering if the scissors beheading her is either the closing of the curse and she's turning back to normal, maybe her death actually releases her, or if it's going to be another trial, because this entire episode was all about trials and overcoming things. But I don't think this is a normal beheading, but rather a release of her rat body into her human body, or it's going to be a case of we're going to be in a completely new location and she'll have more trials to overcome. Either way, though, I would be shocked if we have the Eren Yeager special and her head goes flying. Would be crazy. Maybe they will. I mean, she do be undead. I mean, as long as old Kling gets down there, maybe she's fine. But pretty crazy ending, right? Because this is, without a doubt, the most horrifying anime that I think has aired in 2026. And I'm not saying I'm going to lose sleep over this, right? Like, I'm not going to go to bed and be like, oh my god, I'm sweating just imagining. But in terms of both visual and honestly story direction, I don't think there's a darker show that's aired this year, unless I'm completely mistaken. But I haven't heard of it, right? Like, yeah, there's plenty of anime I don't watch, but I hear good things about. But like, I think I would have heard. Like, there's been some subject matter, sure, but like consistently, this is what peak dark fantasy looks like. And why it drove me insane when in the first episode I said peak dark fantasy is back, and people with their full chests were like, it's a school setting. The best part too is I'm sure half of them are from America, where going to school is a fucking dark fantasy. You never know what's going to happen, right? Just because you're in a school environment doesn't mean you can't have diabolical content, and this episode was chock full of it. And I love the fact that it's not just about showing blood and gore that gets across it, it's just the way it psychologically fucks with you. Whether you're getting roped up by a plant that is literally digging its thorns into you, or it's seeing yourself, a weird snail version that's giant, because you got to keep in mind, she's the size of a rodent, right? And she's running through this very diabolically gothic horror forest as everything like this is happening. It's such a visual trip. And I love the fact that it's just like, it honestly feels like you're trying to navigate through Purgatory and you're clearing different trials. The first way she gets across out of the situation with her basically being in a tank and, you know, running for her life is because the thing grew enough, and her body essentially being immortal, I mean, it allowed her to survive that. But this right here was, I think, my favorite part of the whole thing, because the more it went on, the more disturbed I felt. And just the fact that they actually played up the size difference too. Like, if you're going to say there's a giant, you have to really get across just how fucked up it's going to be. And I think they did such a great job. And it's really rare for a show, especially with what everyone went through at the end of season 1, to actually be able to completely push one of your central heroes shit in, and they did such a great job. But I love the fact that once she realized like kind of what was happening and the trial that was pretty much going on, she just completely Uno reversed it. Because if you're gonna tell me that she is completely so physically fucked up and has to go up against a giant version of herself, like, sometimes you just have to run away. So how are you going to realistically defeat it? And I think the way they explained it with the justification of the mental and everything was so much better than just like a random power-up. Because it still almost like works as a power-up without technically being one. And just the more you see of this demonic world, the more horror it feels. Like in episode 3, I think it was, when Buddy lost his memories because he transformed into that beast. This location and this design, it's some of my favorite visual storytelling, because any horror villain you can think of across all media, I feel like could be right at home in this environment. And it's kind of beautiful. in a kind of twisted way when nothing else is on screen. But like when you see the abominations going on, like, I mean, yeah, this is not the best situation to be in. It is kind of funny though, because at one point she talks about how she has a tingling sensation in near her ass. And I thought to myself, oh, maybe it's her butt plug. And it's really funny because it keeps growing and growing, and it does kind of look like a tail butt plug. And you might want to say that no, you're thinking too dirty. Am I, or are you thinking not dirty enough? That's really the question of the week. What would you have done? Because initially I was like, fuck it, I'll walk through that gate. Because I was thinking to myself, if I'm actually going to get a skill, yeah, I'll lose my memories from all this shit, but like, the memories can come back in time. I'll relearn things. I guess I would have died, huh? This whole thing is just one big fucking test, and it's really interesting because it almost feels like it tests the different emotions humans go through. Being caged in a fucking small enclosed space as a plant takes over. A giant size difference chasing after you, and also it looking and feeling like you and acting like it's the superior version of you going after your self-esteem. You could argue humanity's greed when it comes to gaining something but then losing. It feels like it's just a bunch of trials set in hell, and I think they did a really good job. I'd honestly say it's my favorite episode of this season. There is definitely some of the worst animation we've had on top of some of the better. Like, there's moments where, like, there's just a fucking running sequence. They're not even moving the camera. You just hear footsteps and characters are running. But then you have all this other beautiful imagery, so it's kind of like a tonal whiplash in a way, but man, what a fucking episode. And I mean, it's still the most diabolical fucking cliffhanger you could have possibly done. I will say, though, I absolutely love how during this moment I thought to myself, it feels like a cult, you know? And then, like, seconds later, bro's like, okay, now, evil demonic beast is gonna spit on you. Open your mouth and say, ah. Yeah, it's a cult. I said it last week, though. It's crazy, right? That we thought was the end of the season, right? The teaser of where everything was gonna go. How the fuck do you go back to school, right? This might be the rest of the season. This might be 8 episodes worth of content. But I really thought we were going to explore the school dynamic a little bit more. I thought it was going to be similar to what episode 3 did, where Buddy got completely corrupted. I thought we were going to see a lot of how normal magical students just get exposed to Harry Potter if it had no filter nonsense. And now we've already made a stand. Lure out our enemies. Maybe we just kill our enemies. And then all the people who didn't see anything will just obviously be able to keep their mouth shut because they don't know. I don't know. But Clint's got a lot to deal with. He's got a new purpose in life. Unfortunately, it feels like some things are being, I feel like his desires are kind of back and forth, right? On one hand, he wants to be the magical teacher to that kid. On the other hand, where else does he go? I don't know. It's such an interesting show, and I really feel like it's very rare for a show to have that kind of 80s, 90s dark fantasy feel, but with a modern anime production budget. And this show's special. It's absolutely a shame how fucking slept on it is, which I'll never understand. I mean, I get it to a degree. It airs on, you know, arguably the busiest day of the season where like 10 good shows air. But at the same time, it's really unfortunate how society in general is so jingling keys. We need the freshest, most exciting new thing. And if it comes, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I feel like for a while it was like, oh, there's too big of a gap between seasons. You could have the second season be like a month later and half the people wouldn't watch it anymore, right? It's unfortunate, but it is the way it is. But I think us true fans know how fucking good the show has been, and that's all that matters. Let me know your thoughts, especially if you don't know the source material. Do you agree with my assessment of the beheading? It's either her being released into human form again, or it's the next trial of her being sealed away. I think that's what it is. I think that sound direction gives it away, but maybe I'm overthinking it. Your thoughts, though. Leave a like, share, subscribe, ring that bell, and yes, Patreon, full live reactions over there. And hey, if you're already over my Patreon, I'll also give you a video shout out, because my patrons are what fund this YouTube channel. So today we got I'm Pogs, Ranka, Vadoko, MMK, and we also have Sneppy V2. So I appreciate the support. Please take care, and y'all have a good one.